Welcome to the Scandal Podcast. I am your host, Jaha Knight, and today, well, let me start off as I usually do. You can always find me at www.jahaknight.com. Well, today's episode is Say Hello to My Little Friend, and this is the very first time I'm actually doing one of these Google Live Hangouts by myself. So it's kind of interesting watching yourself on screen and trying to act normal while also seeing your face reflected at you. It's a little weird. But anyway, so today I'm going to talk about this episode. And I have to say that Scandal last night was off the chain. It was a really good episode. I was super excited because I haven't really been that excited this season. And last night just kind of threw it all out there for me. First of all, there were so many things going on in the episode that I almost couldn't keep track. And I had to watch it a few times to see how the nuances kind of just played into each other for other additional pieces of the show. So the opening scene with Jake, when Olivia tells him that he doesn't exist. Like B613 doesn't exist. She wants the boogeyman back in the box. She doesn't want to play in that sandbox anymore. She's just ready to be done so that she can move on with her life and so that her father is more content with the choices that she's making by staying out of his business. And Jake basically wanting to have a relationship with her and also wanting to be in cahoots with each other in order to take B613 down. The whole episode, Liv was like, dude, get out my face. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want any of this until he got to the point where he gave her some information that she was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I can see now why you were so insistent upon needing to speak with me. I thought it was pretty interesting. I actually believe that Jake is only doing what he's doing so that he can free Olivia and so that she could feel comfortable with being in a relationship with him. But I don't actually believe that he wants to necessarily take on B613. Now, B613 is a different beast altogether. Fitz actually at the end of the show showed up at the end of the show at B613 headquarters and was all up in Rowan's face. Now, my question was, does Fitz actually know who Rowan is in relation to Olivia? Because who knew that he knew where B613 headquarters was in the first place? But he's taking on a lot. Like, he has Tom doing a lot more research so that he can kind of fly under the radar with Sai and still get some things done that he wants to get done, which I find incredible, because who would think that he would be trying to do stuff underhandedly under Sai's, well, behind Sai's back? But clearly he still doesn't fully trust Sai like he used to. So that was pretty interesting. I guess at some point Tom must have, talked to him or been given privileges to really just go after the stuff Fitz wanted. After he got the Olivia Fitz phone, the Olitz phone, I guess Tom was given a little carte blanche with other things, which is interesting because I didn't expect that at all. So yeah, like that. That was pretty good. And I guess Tom must have done some more research and told Fitz where B613 headquarters was. Then you have Melly, who is always putting her foot in her mouth in some way or another. And she did the same thing during this episode, but with a different twist. You had Phoebe, because I can't call her Lisa Kudrow. You have Phoebe on there running for office for the Democratic nod against Fitz and not being that relevant until Melly opened her mouth and totally took it to another level. And we see for the previews for next episode that Phoebe is actually going to be going to Olivia for help because she has a secret, a dirty little secret, and they always come out. So yeah, that was pretty good too. So my three highlights. One of my highlights was when Fitz had his Remington Navy buddy, well, his Navy buddy, buried. And we don't even know if Fitz actually even knew this person. They're talking about this manifest and the man having claimed to fly a certain flight, but not actually having flown that flight, Fitz having done so. So we don't even know if he knew him, but I think it was kind of stupid of him to go through the lengths that he did to bury this man, considering the fact that he could be linked to him pretty easily if they want to do a little bit of digging. So I thought that was really odd. I hope that he doesn't get taken down by that, by his kindness. But in that moment when he was at that gravesite with the sister, I saw a humanity in him that I don't believe I've seen before. And of course, we've seen it in different episodes, but he has this look on his face that I thought just made the entire episode, where it almost looked like he wanted to explode from the inside while he was standing there saluting the soldier and bidding him farewell. It was really poignant. I always mess with that word, so you know what I mean. Poignant, whatever. Poignant. Still wrong. Anyway, so the point is, it was a great moment, and Fitz really, he did a really good thing when he buried that man. Although he didn't even know that Sai and Rowan had colluded to kill this man, and Sai didn't, he didn't come as a part of it. But Rowan is just ugh. And I actually fear for Fitz, because if he is going to confront Rowan at the B613 headquarters and Rowan is there, if Rowan is the boogeyman, who in the heck is behind Rowan? Because if he's doing all of this with the co-signing of some other parties or power, who could that power be? I fear who the power is, because Rowan is something. Whew. If Rowan is that bad, who could be standing behind him saying, yes, I give you carte blanche to do these things? Like, whew. The case for this episode was Senator Myers versus Desiree, and his wife, Shelly Myers, who was pretty much standing behind him throughout the whole thing until she found out that this wasn't a one-time situation. It was actually something that was continuous, and her husband was a pervert. And when she finally came to that conclusion, she didn't want to help him, but she knew he hadn't killed the girl. And we find out, of course, and I kind of knew all along that that wife had to have killed this woman. Like, I kind of felt, because she started talking about her accomplishments and what she'd done in her life, and how this man has just basically made her look like the weakest anti-feminist ever to walk the face of the planet, because she did something so stupid behind her love for a man. And I thought that was kind of, I was like, oh, this lady killed that girl. Like, you could tell that at that moment that she had to have killed that girl, because she was drinking, and just a little pervy perv penis shots to a couple of girls or a few girls or whatnot really wouldn't make a woman drink like that. She had to have done something more drastic. So I thought that was interesting. It was nice to see the scenes between Sai and his husband and how those went, because he really played James a little bit in that beginning scene when James wanted a comment. It would drive me crazy if I was married to somebody who actually depended on my comments or any type of validity of information, like in lieu of research, because clearly James thinks that he can get ahead by kind of using Sai. So I just didn't like that. I'm like, it would drive me crazy if I had a husband that did that. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna need you to go somewhere with all of that, all them questions and all of that harassment to my nerves. I'm gonna need you to go. So yeah, that's how I felt. My favorite character this episode was Shelly Myers, just because of the way she played OPA and played, the court system against itself. I thought that was pretty good. It's like a chess match, and she won. It was nice. I feel like Olivia is not trusting herself a lot when it comes to where she is. And also, she's now the punchline in Washington just as much as Fitz is, because they're talking as much about his little friend in this episode as they're talking about Senator Myers' little friend. And that's that's pretty interesting that Fitz has been exposed so much for his sexual situations, and that also now this episode, this senator is being exposed for his as well. So it's pretty interesting there. What else happened this episode that I thought was pretty noteworthy? It was, oh, when Huck was kind of not necessarily sleuthing around because he wasn't at the beginning, but when he went to the funeral of um, this guy, I can't remember his name, it's escaping me, but when he went to the funeral and then he saw Fitz there, kind of made him think a little bit. And then when Jake accosted him in that garage, and also made him think a little bit. And then him having that flashback to when he saw this set of numbers tattooed on this dead man, that also made him think. And then having the information that Jake had pulled together right there in front of him, along with a little tiny bit of sleuthing of his own, Huck finally came around to Jake's side of things, and was standing behind him when Jake went to Olivia's apartment at the end there. I thought that was pretty interesting because Huck was just like, leave us alone, stay out of our lives, I don't want to deal with you. But whatever he found was so compelling that it made him change his mind. Pretty good, like that. And then Quinn sneaking around, oh my gosh, Quinn sneaking around trying to find out what Huck is doing. Girl, get a life, for real. Like, I didn't like that at all. Wasn't a high point for me. Now, the music this episode, when I tell you, I'm going to be listening to Nina Simone for the rest of the weekend, because the music for this episode was on point. You had Nina Simone, Wild as the Wind, and you had Mary Jane by Rick James. What? I got my whole entire life with all of that. I loved it. And like, I'm not the fashion girl of the podcast, so it's not for me. But the outfit that Melly had on in this episode when she was sitting at the table with Fitz, that little purple outfit, it was really cute. I thought it was cute. Even though she never got up, but just the front and how it pulled together in the front, I thought that was pretty nice. And Melly has been dressing sharper these days. She had on this pink suit when she was talking that trash at that podium. And the pink suit was cute because I think it may have been a top and a bottom, because the skirt was extremely fitted, and I think she had on a belt. It was really nice. I thought that was adorable. And I know this episode is a little bit briefer than we are used to having. I didn't talk about the Olitz conversation that Olivia had with Fitz, which I thought was pretty significant considering Jake from State Farm was sitting there. And I absolutely cannot stand Jake, so you all know. Oh, and I'll talk about that in a second. Every time I think I'm about to end it, I find things that were still embedded in my memory about the episode. So yeah, Jake actually said let me slow down because I just don't like Jake and it's just driving me crazy. But Jake actually said during Olivia's conversation with Fitz, made some kind of reference or whatever, I can't remember what he said, just to let Fitz know that he was there and he was in Olivia's apartment. Now, last episode, Olivia Linden, the author, said that she doesn't understand why if Jake and Olivia if Olivia and Fitz are so destined to be, why Olivia slept with Jake. I do agree that she must have some kind of attraction to this disgusting man, but at the same time, I kind of feel like Olivia uses sex in a way to control and manipulate. Not control and manipulate so much other people, but it may be a stress reliever for her because that might be why she's sleeping with somebody that she's not totally attracted to, because it's a stress reliever, and she definitely needs to relieve the pressure that's going on in her mind and in her head, because she has a ton of crap going on. So I don't think that the sex that she's having with Jake, or even that attraction, has anything to do with her inability to love and care for Fitz, because you see when he called, she took the call and she was even willing to stay on the phone with him, even though she smiled at Jake, did the right thing by saying, "Oh, yeah, Jake, whatever," smiled at him when he made that noise. But she really wanted to stay on the phone with Fitz, at least to my way of thinking. I don't believe that she wanted to get off. And I don't know. I just find Jake so repulsive. I can't even explain why Olivia would even be attracted to him, because personally, I don't see it. I don't know. Yeah, nope, don't see it. Don't even know how to explain it. So yeah, then I come to someone else on the show that I'm just not a huge fan of, which is Harrison. And him dancing around in the office with his pants all jacked up across he looked a mess. Like, I don't know what you ladies see in Harrison, but his pants were sky high to his navel in that scene where he was dancing in the office talking about how they could pay the rent this month and keep the lights on. I was like, ugh, just ugh. But whatever. He had a better set of lines, I guess, this episode. Yeah, Harrison is who Harrison is, and I just can't, you know. Anyway, so we have a review in iTunes. It is a 5-star review, which is awesome. And it is by LV47937. And thank you all so much for listening. I am so appreciative of the fact that you are listening to the podcast. You're giving us feedback, and you're definitely engaging with what we're talking about on here. So what LV47937 said was, I so agree with you guys on this particular episode, and that she or he is referring to last episode. I didn't get that adrenaline rush I usually get. I thought maybe I was dipping into depression mode since I couldn't get psyched out about it. You guys argue about the episode like my friends do. I love the happy family scene with Melly, B, Teddy, Fitz, and Cyrus, and drunk Melly. I could get past, what is that? Oh, I could get past getting a bomb inside, because a crazy, sad mom knows no limits. Now, there, I totally agree, because I know if something that happened to my kid, everybody blowing up. Yeah, But Olivia going into the room when people were running out, now you darn well know us minorities have a better sense of self-preservation, so no, Scandal lost me there. Oh, and want to see see Guillermo. Ooh, thank you for putting that in some phonetic. I like that. Guillermo, thank you. Watch the movie Half-Baked, but I love Scandal, and I'll be back next week and eagerly await your podcast after. But yes, I still had tons of questions. How the hell does Noel, Jake, know about her daddy? But don't underestimate Fitz knowing all about the shiz. Maybe he just played them. He's part of the master plan. But hell, now I sound like the other crazies. Love it. Love you guys. Keep it up. So yeah, I kind of think that Fitz is a part of the master plan, and he knows exactly what's going on, even though Jake alluded to this episode, the fact that how could Fitz protect Olivia when Fitz didn't even know that Olivia was dealing with the situation, or didn't even know who her father was, and the fact that he's the head of B613, so how could he protect her? I was just like, you know what? Don't underestimate Fitz, because you just never know what he knows and what he doesn't know, especially now that he has Tom. And what's crazy to me is that Cy knows stuff and he won't tell Fitz about it, but then he goes to try to manipulate Fitz to do what he wants him to do and tries to use the information for those purposes, but it doesn't always work. And generally, like this season, it seems to be backfiring. Like, so now Fitz is almost working around Cyrus to get what he wants done. Like, he's like, you know what? I don't care about this presidency. I want me some black cookies. I'm good on everything else y'all got going on. I just want to be with Olivia. and not die in the process, and that's it. That's all I want. I don't care what Melly does. He even stood up for Melly this episode, which was surprising to me because we all know Fitz don't ever stand up for Melly. He'd be like, girl, get out my face. So that was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty cool. So, okay, we are at the end of the podcast for this episode. I thank you all again for listening. This is a short episode, but guess what? Last week, y'all had like a whole hour and 30 minutes, and yeah, that was a wow. So we gave you a whole hour and 30 minutes. So this kind of evens it out. It kind of helps, it's like, okay, an hour and 30 minutes there, 30 minutes here. Now, guess what you have? A full 2-hour episode in 2 bits. There you go. So thank you all again for listening. Until next week, stay sophisticated.